Good Wednesday morning. Did you know that misunderstanding causes conflict and confusion? Cooler heads prevail. Before we take actions, we need to stop and think and pray. Pray, first of all. Lord, guide us. What is it that you want us to do? So let's talk about Joshua 22, verses 10 through 34. So it actually starts at verse 9 when Reuben and Gad and the half tribe of Manasseh received permission from Joshua to go back over to their land in Gilead, the land they'd inherited. They'd been fighting with all of the other tribes to get rid of the people in Canaan. But now that the land had rest, they said, hey, you guys can go back over to your land. And on their way back, they got to talking. They realized that the Jordan River was like a border between them and Gilead and the other 10 tribes are over in Canaan. And they're like, hey, we really need to do something. So they decided to build a memory altar. They said, our kids or their kids' kids. There's going to be a time to come when they're going to say, hey, you guys are on that side. You don't have anything to do with us who are the godly people on this side. You don't have anything to do with the Lord. And they said, let's that happen. Let's build an altar and let's tell our children so they can tell their children. This represents that we belong to the Lord and we are kinfolk with the other 10 tribes. But Joshua, through the Lord, gave us our inheritance on this side of the Jordan. Only the river separates us. That was their intent, and they built that memory altar. But word got back to the relatives over on the other side of the river, the other 10 tribes, and they was like, oh, what are they doing? Don't they remember what happened to Peor and what happened to Achan? When you rebel against God, have they gotten over there and they're going to build an altar and try to do some other kind of worship, doing sacrifices? We need to tell them, if nothing else, just if that land is defiled over there, come on back over here. Because Shiloh, that's the place where we're going to worship the Lord. So they were ready to war. But there was Phinehas, the priest, Eleazar's son. I know that wisdom must have popped in through him, because they sent a delegation with Phinehas and one chief ruler from each of those 10 tribes. So it says 10 princes and Phinehas crossed back over there. And they did an interview. They didn't just go in accusing, but they's like, hey, what's going on? Do you guys not know what can happen to you for rebelling against God? And not only will it happen to you, but it's going to happen to all of us, all of Israel. So from, I'd say, maybe, from 15 to 22, there's the interview where they're saying, you can't do this. But then they give their brothers on the other side a chance to explain. And they said, No, God is holy. God is our God. We would never do anything like that. And they explained, hey, this is just a memorial altar. It's not an altar for sacrifices. We just want our children and our children's children and your children's children to know that we are from one family. Jacob's children, the tribes, the Israelites, God's chosen. We serve the Lord. They're looking out for the future. And so once they explained, communication beats everything. Then the other 10 tribes okay, yeah, we understand now. So they went back to tell their people, and there was peace. Conflict was resolved through conversation, through listening. So conversation is two-way. We're talking and we're listening. Cooler heads prevailed and avoided a war between relatives. The next time there's a conflict, maybe somebody has said, you offended me. Listen, it's better to apologize sincerely and try to live at peace with all men. Maybe someone did something to you. The same goes. Let's avoid conflict with positive communication, speaking the truth in love. Joshua chapter 22, start at verse 9, go all the way to verse 34. I love you. God loves us. He so wants us to love one another. And God willing, I'll see you the next day. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Remember how to avoid conflicts. Bye.